Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. I don't know what's going on with the dungeon music tonight. Very scary. This sounds like that song. How many of you guys have seen the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes? Well, if you haven't, it's a great movie. But the opening scene where he walks into that vampire nightclub, that's what this sounds like. The South Carolina's quarterback's name is Lenoris Sellers. Lenoris Sellers. He's a good one, too, I think. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. Dark horse with a Heisman. Yeah, he's definitely on the list. And you know how much I hate South Carolina, so if I'm giving him his props, you know he's good. Otherwise, I'd say he's garbage. Yeah, the opening scene to Blade is amazing. It's actually the best scene of the movie. Anyway, good evening, everybody. I'm just waiting on my co-host to get here, and we'll get this show started here. Tonight we're going to be previewing Stanford and Virginia Tech, if you couldn't tell by the title of the stream there. Let me see. Let me pull out my... Let's see. So far, we've done North Carolina, Syracuse, Miami, Boston College, SMU, and FSU. So we've done 6 teams so far. And out of those 6 teams, I think we've only picked 2 to have winning records, which is not going well so far. Virginia Tech's down bad. They lost to Vanderbilt. Yeah, so did Alabama. I do agree with you. They're down bad, though. I just, same as they lost to Vanderbilt wasn't bad last year. They have a pretty interesting schedule this year, Virginia Tech does. As a matter of fact, they start out the season against South Carolina, I believe. We'll look in a minute. Let's see. I mean, Brent Pry is going into his, 4th year? You see, his first season was 2000. Let me turn this music off. Now it's just starting to get on my nerves. Brent Pry, the head coach for Virginia Tech, started, as I say, at 22. Yeah, this is his 4th season he's going into. He's got a record of 16-21, which is not good. So, good evening, sir. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
So I just heard the big news.
What's that?
You guys hired an athletic director.
Oh, a new AD. Yeah, I don't even know who he hired. Let's find out.
Hold on, let me see here.
He
He came from Tennessee.
That's right. Yeah, that was actually a name that had been floating around. It's the same kind of deal that we did. So here it is. Hiring Tennessee Deputy Athletic Director Ryan Alpert. He will praise J-Bat, who was hired at Michigan State. That bastard freaking went to Michigan State, and then we had an interim that was under him, and then that guy left to go to Michigan State too. Like, damn.
Yeah. So what was his position at Tennessee? Did you already say that?
Yep. Deputy Athletic Director.
Oh, so he wasn't the AD. He was like the second in line.
Yeah, we weren't poaching Tennessee's athletic director.
Yeah. So I saw a little bit of Rec Talk already posted a video about it. He actually just but a few minutes ago. So I only saw a few minutes of it. But according to him, I think he's happy about the hire. I think he's a young guy. He's only 35 years old.
Okay.
His alum is South Carolina, so he's a South Carolina graduate.
Wow.
And I guess he's a money guy. So
that's good. This is actually mirroring the hire that we made last time too. We got the deputy. Jay Batt was the director for deputy athletic director from Alabama. So and he was a money guy. So he came in immediately, did a bunch of fundraising. He was selling the rights to stuff, which some people saw as controversial, but it was a necessary evil, and it made us a bunch of money. And
selling the rights to what?
He sold the field name. It was historic Grant Field. Now it's Hyundai Field or some shit.
Oh.
So we lose a little bit of it's actually not permanent, but it is for a long time. It's for 30 years or something. But obviously it brought in a ton of money.
I heard Clemson's athletic director's name come up pretty frequently in this because isn't Clemson's athletic director is named Graham Neff? Isn't he a Georgia Tech alum?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think the timing's right for that. I never bought into it. He's got one of the better jobs in the country right now. And Clemson is rolling in the athletic department right now.
I don't either. And honestly, hiring somebody just because he's a tech man, that we should hire whoever's best for the job,
Well, he would have been a good hire. I mean,
I'm sure.
If you look at Clemson's their athletic department in total, I mean, they're right now probably top to bottom is good or better than they've ever been. So
I'm sure. But I mean, we also have different needs than Clemson.
Yeah.
We're in a critical period right now. The future of our entire program is on the line right now. With realignment and stuff, we got to make sure we're positioned right. Got to make sure we're getting money, making sure we're competitive in football, so that we're desirable in realignment, stuff like that. So, this hire was super important, and hopefully it works out. We knocked it out of the park with Jay Batt hire, so I would assume, I would hope that we try to kind of emulate that again.
Where did Batt go?
Michigan State.
Oh, okay. I think you said that a minute ago. That's a weird. I don't get that.
I mean, they got more money than us.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But he did earn it. I mean, he did a hell of a job here, and he's going to do a good job for Michigan State too, I'm sure. But that's something that we've been throughout our entire athletic department. With the AD and all of our coaching staff and stuff, we've kind of gone the route of hiring young guys, up and coming guys. A lot of the hire Brent Key was that type of hire, and then a lot of the hires he makes are that.
I'd say so. I mean, 35 years old. He's got to be maybe the youngest athletic director in the country now, or close to it.
That's like Rec Talk's age.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard Rex say he said he graduated high school in 2008.
Yeah.
So.
It's a little older than me.
I mean, that's only 2 years younger than me.
Yeah, but that's young for an AD.
It's young.
I mean, I think it is. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there might be an AD that's younger than that somewhere in the country, but I don't know of one.
Yeah.
Can't think of one. How old was Bat? He's in his 40s anyways.
Yeah, I think so. He was awesome, though. Hopefully this guy can fill his shoes. I don't know. Ryan Alpert. So.
Well, we'll see. Another thing that Georgia Tech has done for money is, didn't you sell away a home game against Georgia?
The Georgia game. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Is that a permanent thing, or they did it for a certain amount of time? Huh?
Just 1 year.
Oh, just 1 year. Okay, never mind.
And it made us $11 million, which is Jeff Collins' entire buyout. So it's hard to be mad. I mean, it just is bad timing because we're so close to beating them. And we haven't beat them at home this century. So this year is our best chance in a long time to get that home win, and we're not going to be playing at home, which sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
But it is what it is. We're going to be making plenty of money from it, so like I said, it's a critical time. We need money bad. We're one of the most, or we were one of the most indebted football programs in the country.
It wasn't just the football program. The university as a whole was like $300 million in debt.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We were like third or fourth in the country.
Like, how are all these nerds that bad with numbers?
Yeah. I don't know. Damn. There's been a lot of bad decisions at Tech, like in the this century. And it seems like now we're finally getting our head out of our ass. But I mean, you know, we decided willingly to start running the triple option in 2009.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, as much as you're bashing it, that's the most success you've had this century.
It set them back 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but it's still also the most success they've had this century.
It's the most success because we had a talented roster, and Paul Johnson took it over, and was able to, do something with those players.
When I say it set him back 15 years, what I really mean is that how long was Paul Johnson there? 10 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think the Jeff Collins hire set him back farther than the Paul Johnson hire.
No, because that was a transition hire. I mean, he took over a triple option team and is trying to make a...
I mean, we were always going to go through it was a bad hire, but I don't think it was worse than Paul Johnson.
I don't think any coach, you're not going to get a great coach coming off of the Paul Johnson era, because no great coach wants to go in there and fix the triple option thing.
He was the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And, he was also a shitty coach. Paul Johnson was, a bad hire, but a good coach. Jeff Collins was a bad hire and a bad coach, but he might have been an okay hire at the time. A lot of people thought he would do well.
Never trust a guy who spells his name Jeff with a G, ever.
Yeah.
It's like a guy with two first names.
Yeah.
Or two girls' first names.
I was saying this, like, we've come a long way since those days. I remember when I first started the channel and I was dying.
You were dying a slow, painful death.
It was.
You were still dying every game you're dying. We have to put you on suicide watch, after some of these games.
I know, but it seems like there's less of that these days, which is really good for my mental health.
I mean, in the jail, we call it 603. I'm about to put you in one of them ripstop quilted gowns and a blanket and take all your stuff away from you so you don't try and hang yourself with your underwear or your shoelaces.
Exactly.
We haven't done a Georgia Tech preview yet. We're going to save Clemson and Georgia Tech for last, I think. But I'm high on Georgia Tech. I have high hopes for them in the ACC this year. I think they can compete for a chance to play the first week in December. They're one of maybe 4 or 5 teams.
We'll see. I'll honestly, when
I mean, Vegas has them, I think, at like the 6th or best odds, maybe somewhere between 5th and 7th, somewhere in there.
To win the ACC?
To win the ACC.
Oh, to win, though. But what about just to go? I guess it would be.
I don't know if they come out with odds just to go to the ACC title game.
Yeah.
I looked that up.
Geez, who would be the 5 teams ahead of them if there's 6? I can obviously say Clemson, Miami, probably Louisville.
Yeah, Clemson, Miami, Louisville were 3 that I know
Virginia
of.
Tech, I could probably see.
SMU, maybe?
Yeah, SMU was ahead of them. They might have been 5th. They might have been 5th, but it was 5th, somewhere between 5th and 7th, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, I guess that's fair. I don't know that I have Virginia Tech ahead of them. We're going to look at their schedule tonight. As a matter of fact, we can go ahead and do that now. So Virginia Tech, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Brent Pry he's going into his 4th season there. So, the honeymoon period's over. You give a guy 2 or 3 years to get things turned around. And then it's kind of like, okay, now we want to start to see some results, right?
Are you sure this is his 4th season?
Yeah, 22 is his first year. So 22, 23, 24, 25, yeah.
Okay. See, I was thinking like 23 was his first season. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure I looked it up.
I didn't think he came in the same year as Mario.
Well, he's 16 and 21. So how many games is that? That's 37 games. So he's definitely been 3 seasons.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is his 4th season. He's 16 and 21. They're 6 and 7 last year. Although I don't know if you guys remember this time last year, everybody was singing Virginia Tech's praises like this is going to be their year. They're going to win the ACC. And of course, I didn't buy into that. I'm not going to buy into it again this year either. But
I understand that though. When you end the previous year winning 5 of your last 6. Okay, that's understandable to think you can carry that momentum into the next season.
Yeah. Now they got a returning quarterback, Kyron Drones, who's going to be a junior this year. He played some last year. He got injured, I think. So he played in 23, had a decent year, like a couple thousand yards passing or something. Nothing like groundbreaking numbers, but they weren't terrible. Then he played limited last year because he was hurt, and so now he's expected to be the starter this year. I don't really know. If you just look at his numbers, there's really not much that stands out at you. It's pretty mediocre, honestly. But I don't think. I think in 23, didn't he take over for somebody in 23? He didn't play the entire season, I don't think.
I think you're right.
So, and then he had he only played a few games last year because he got hurt. So it's really he's an unknown. He might end up being one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the ACC. He might end up being the worst. I have no idea what to expect from him. But I do think that Brent Pry, this is a hot seat year for him. If he doesn't, at least exceed the amount of wins he got last year, so that would be 7 wins, I think it's probably his seat's going to start getting hot in Blacksburg. Although they don't really fire their coaches. Neither of the Virginia schools like firing their coaches. They'll hang on to a mediocre coach for a long time, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech hung on to Beamer, but oh God, what's his nuts that came in before Brent Pry? I mean, they gave him 3 or 4 years and he was done.
Fuente?
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Fuente.
Yeah, Justin Fuente. Yeah. Before we get into the schedule, any thoughts on Virginia Tech just as a whole from either one of you guys?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch a lot of Virginia Tech outside of when they played Miami, and I mean, being able to sling the ball around on Miami's secondary last year is not saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't able to score against them, but we also didn't have Haynes King in that game, and they were cheating.
All right, you know what? That's a good point there. Let's just take a quick glance at the 2024 schedule for Virginia Tech, and this will give you a little bit of insight exactly how disappointing they were. They lost the season opener against Vanderbilt, 34-27 in overtime. So it was. I mean, it wasn't a blowout or anything. It went to overtime. I'm looking to see what their best win is. They got a win against Marshall. They got a win against Old Dominion. Lost to Rutgers. Lost to Miami. Beat Stanford. Beat Boston College. Beat Georgia Tech. Is Georgia Tech their best win? It must be.
Damn.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people bashed them for that loss to Vanderbilt, but by the end of the year, that looked better than it did game one because, Vanderbilt did beat Alabama.
Yeah, Vanderbilt ended up being a decent team last year. So it looked worse at the beginning. I think you're right. That's it. Georgia Tech's their best win. I mean, they're Virginia. Hell, they lost to Duke and Syracuse.
Duke was pretty decent last year.
I'm about to say Duke and Syracuse were both 9+ win teams, so that's nothing to.
And both
to
those,
really bash
what
them
I'm
about.
seeing here is actually a lot of close games by Virginia Tech. A lot of these losses are close. They lost to Syracuse in overtime. They only lost by 3 points to Duke. They beat Virginia like a drum. They beat them by 20 points. They only lost by 4 to Miami. They only lost by 3 to Rutgers. So I mean, you got a lot of one-score losses here. So they still won 6 games. So I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, that makes them better than that 3-9 Nebraska team from a couple years ago that lost every game by like a touchdown or less.
Yeah. Spank Mapleton says they didn't even really lose to Miami. Oh, that was one of those controversial games, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
It really wasn't even controversial.
There's 2 games last year that the Cal game, and I guess the Virginia Tech game. The Cal game, I forget which one was which controversy.
The Cal game was controversial in the fact that Miami was even down to them like that. The Virginia Tech game was the one where 2 players come up with it right there in the end zone at the end.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I said this at the time, by the time the refs got over there, a Miami player had it. So how you're calling it a touchdown was even beyond. Like that was more controversial than them overturning it, I think, was the fact they even called it a
That's
touchdown.
right. Now I remember. They overturned it. That's what they were upset about. I remember now.
Which would have been the right original call.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess it doesn't look as bad. Let's give them one of those games that, I don't know. But it looks to me as if their schedule is pretty on par as far as the scale of difficulty as it was last year. So they start out the season week 1 against South Carolina. Now, this must be a neutral site game. There's an asterisk by this game. So I don't know where this game's being played. Does anybody else know?
No, I don't.
Where does South Carolina usually play their home openers? It might be in Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
There's a different game being played in Atlanta.
Huh?
Yeah, you would think we would inform ourselves of this beforehand, but
Yeah, well, the week 1 neutral site games are always, there's no, this is technically a home game for Virginia Tech, but it's not in Virginia Tech, so.
yeah.
Now,
I don't have the hate for them that a lot of people do. Now, I think they do too many of them. But if you just had the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic, I'd be okay with that.
I don't have a problem with like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 neutral site games every year to start the season out, but they have like a dozen of them. It's ridiculous.
Remember when Florida State and LSU did that silly thing where they had a home and home, but it wasn't a home and home. It was
like one was in New Orleans and one was in Orlando.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
A neutral and a neutral that was both like an hour away from their stadiums.
Well, and Alabama's really the one that started that trend. Like they opened like every year for like 7 years in a row with a neutral site
against a washed up opponent.
Tennessee and Syracuse is in Atlanta, so probably Charlotte. Yeah, I guess it might be Charlotte.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
It's ringing out.
Well, while Sea Dog's gone, I'll go ahead and give my pick here. Now, unfortunately for Virginia Tech, they're opening a season against South Carolina, and this is going to be, in my opinion, one of the better South Carolina teams under Shane Beamer, and one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC, in my opinion. So you got an experienced, what I consider to be very good quarterback at South Carolina against a somewhat inexperienced, even though he's going to be a junior, he hasn't played that much football under center in college. And I just think South Carolina is better. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick against Virginia Tech here.
I think South Carolina's getting too much credit. Now, I do like Lenora Sellers, but sophomore slumps are a real thing. And, getting through a season because people don't have film on you is a real thing. But there's a lot of film out there on Lenora Sellers now. And like I said, sophomore slumps are a real thing.
Yeah.
And South Carolina is another one of those teams, like whenever there's expectations for them, they continuously don't live up to them.
Well, that's a true fact there. Yeah.
And that's not even me just trying to take a shot at South Carolina. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm actually going to give this one to Virginia Tech.
Wow. I didn't see that coming. So I got South Carolina, and Slim has Virginia Tech. And so we do have confirmation the game is in Atlanta. So there's more than one game in Atlanta.
Oh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind going to see one of these games that I have no rooting interest in. I'm tired of being stressed out when I go to games.
Well, go see South Carolina and Virginia Tech.
Shit, I might.
Yeah. Tickets as low as $114 according to the ESPN machine.
No, I might not.
You're not paying $100 for a ticket, are you?
Yeah, especially week one. There's so many good games that day. And then whenever I go to a game, I don't wind up getting to watch all the other games that day, which sucks.
Yeah, and this is
you have to figure he's a Georgia Tech man. He's used to getting tickets as low as $7.
Yeah. $9.50.
Very funny. I'm gonna actually.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I might have to buy a ticket to the Clemson and Georgia Tech game. I'm sure that'll probably be one of the more expensive home games for Georgia Tech that this year, I would think.
Yeah, they'll jack up the ticket prices because Clemson's coming to town.
Yeah, lucky me.
So, are you getting a hotel or are you sleeping on my couch?
Well, Rex said I could sleep on his couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He sleeps on his couch, though. How's that going to work?
He what?
He sleeps on his couch. He doesn't have a bed.
They're going to spoon.
Oh, God. Well, I guess I'll sleep on the floor then. I don't know. He didn't say that.
I was thinking,
Wait a minute.
I'm like, huh? He has a bedroom, but he lets his daughter sleep in there.
Oh.
Wait a minute. So one of you Georgia Tech men doesn't have a bed, and one of you doesn't have pants.
Does he have a recliner or something?
Pick it up with him. No.
No?
It's a sectional.
Oh, what? So I get the small section, and he gets the big section, and his fucking feet in my face?
I don't know. It might be something.
I don't know. Maybe I need to sleep at your house. Do you have a bed or couch?
I have a much smaller house than I used to. I used to have my old house was so.
You can sleep in the camper, Pete.
But I do have I have a couch, and then I have a twin mattress that I keep for guests too. So,
Well, maybe I'll come to your house then.
I'm not trying to steal you away from Rick, but
Well, I don't want to put him out either. If he's like,
I don't know what he's planning to do.
I don't know. We need Rec in here to like. I'm not sure if this is true that Rec Talk doesn't have a bed.
He sleeps on the couch.
well, he said he's got a bed, but it's his daughter's bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Maybe it's big enough for him to sleep in it for a night. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I'll ask him next time I talk to him about it. I don't want to put him out. I don't want to, I don't want to kick him off the couch if he's got. That's where he's got to sleep.
It is a comfortable couch. There.
Yeah. But he lives. I mean, he lives the closest of all of you, right? To Bobby Dodd.
Yeah.
By a lot, right? I mean, how far are you from Atlanta?
Like 45 minutes with no traffic.
So he's less than that, though. He's only like 15 or 20 minutes, isn't he?
Yeah, he's right near the highway.
Yeah.
I used to live over there. It's a great location. Like you can be anywhere in Atlanta really quick.
Jay says to stay at Paul's house. Well, Paul doesn't even live in the Atlanta area, does he?
He lives about an hour north of me.
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be probably even longer. It'd probably be like an hour and a half to get to Atlanta from where he's at.
I know he's got a bed. But I want the Atlanta experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have to share that bed with whoever's in his rehab program at the time. But
Well, he just moved a girlfriend in there. I think. This past weekend. Anyway, who are you picking, Sea-Dog? South Carolina or Virginia Tech?
She will never be Robin. I think I'm going to pick... Slim, I'm not sure what you're cooking with the Virginia Tech pick. I think I'm going to go with South Carolina.
There we go.
It was a subversive pick. And it's plausible. I do think South Carolina will.
No, look, I hope South Carolina beats them. I mean, you know how funny that would be? First of all, South Carolina losing the season opener would be hilarious just by itself. But the fact that they would lose to a mediocre ACC team would just be, it'd be like icing on the cake.
Right.
So go Hokies, but I just don't see it happening. Now, this next one is pretty interesting. September the 6th, at home in Blacksburg against Vanderbilt.
Oh.
And this is already being slated as a 7:30 p.m. kickoff, so it's a night game on the ACC network on Saturday night. So
that'll be a win.
Is Vanderbilt going to look like anything that resembles Vanderbilt of last year?
no, I think Poppy is gone. A lot of those transfers from New Mexico.
Bobby is not
State
gone.
all played. I thought he was gone.
No, he got another year of eligibility, didn't he?
Yeah, he sued the NCAA for antitrust laws.
Yeah, he fought the law and the law won, or he won. He beat the law. So, Vandy Dandy, we can't take what you say seriously. He says Vanderbilt's supposed to be better than they were last year. That'd be a minor miracle. I mean, even if they're anywhere close to how good they were last year, this should be a good game. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm probably picking Vanderbilt to win this game. Believe it or not. So I am. I'm picking Vanderbilt.
I don't think
With it, I don't believe that at all. I think if anything, Vanderbilt will be worse because they're Vanderbilt. Give me a 2-0 Virginia Tech.
Wow.
Well, actually, they'd be 1-1 now.
Well,
according to
2-0,
yes,
2 wins over the mighty Aggies.
I'd be okay with that.
Well, it's up to you, Sea-Dog, which way this goes here.
I already said I think Virginia Tech wins.
Oh, you do? Okay, all right. So you start out the season 1-1.
Dude, a night home game against freaking Vandy? Come on.
A night home game. Yeah. You're making good points here.
Blind squirrel that found a nut last year. But now they're Vandy again.
Most teams, when they see Old Dominion on the schedule, they just go ahead and pencil in a big W, right?
Yeah.
But not so fast. Not Virginia Tech. They've played the past 2 seasons, I believe, at least two or three, and they do have a win against Virginia. I think they're 1-1 against Virginia Tech. Now it's fun, but I'm gonna pick Tech here to win this.
Me too, but speaking of not so fast, we haven't even mentioned Lee Corso retiring. And the helmet picks are not going to continue.
Yeah, the headgear deal. Yeah, well, it shouldn't.
Well, and this is at least 5 years overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees.
More.
I mean, he was having fun, I'm sure. So it's like, on one hand, yeah, it probably was overdue, but at least, it was getting hard to watch, but at least, like, he was having fun, I'm sure.
Look, they've been preparing for this. When they brought McAfee in there and Saban. Saban's supposed to be the old football coach, they sort of replace him, and he was the old football coach, and then McAfee's in there. He's the clown. He's the clown show. So, I mean, Nick Saban's not putting on fucking headgear, so stop it. So
yeah,
I mean,
I gotta say,
you know what? You say that, but they might have him. I could see them having him do it.
They already said they're not doing it. Yeah. They said the headgear retires with him. Huh?
I would do it.
What, you mean Sea-Dog would do it?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
Every time, like, it's time to pick the Georgia game, I would put on the opposite headgear of whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
Well, hell, if that'd be the case, then Georgia would go undefeated.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, didn't you have to like do a witch's curse and burn all those hats or something?
Yeah, it turns
dance around a fire or something.
Ever since I've done that, they haven't won a national championship. So, coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah. Did you burn the Clemson hat too?
I did them all away. They're done.
Yeah.
Should have gave them to a homeless shelter or something. I'm just saying, it would have been, the nice thing to do.
The nice thing to do to make people wear freaking Georgia State hats,
or do like they do for the because they print up all the T-shirts for the teams that lose the national championship or Super Bowl. Send them to Africa so those kids can have them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the people over there must be real confused about who the national champions are because they're always getting the loser shirt.
They are.
They're like, huh? I thought they won.
Georgia sucks. They're gonna suck this year.
All right. So, is anybody picking Old Dominion to win this game? This game's in Blacksburg.
Nah.
This would be the second straight week, another night game for Virginia Tech, also on the ACC network. So back-to-back ACC network night games for the Hokies. Then they get another home game the following week. Hold on, let me record this before I forget. Then they get another home game against Wofford. That's probably going to be a noon game.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm taking Virginia Tech in that one too.
Yeah. I mean, so even we got them at 3-1, not a bad start to the year. I got them at a big old 4-0.
Yeah.
That's a really good start to the year.
Yeah.
And just as Sea-Dog would pick every headgear against Georgia, this next one, September the 27th, is at their first road game, by the way. Well, their first true road game. I guess you could consider the South Carolina game a road game because it's in Atlanta. But their first true road game at NC State. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, there's no point in you voting. We all know what
this is a big upset for Virginia Tech.
Upset.
Will it be
all that?
We'll see. Maybe.
I mean, in his cycle, Dave Dorn is due for a decent year if we're just going by his cycle.
He is going by the cycle. I'm subscribing to the cycle.
You're
subscribed to it.
Uh-oh, don't tell me you're high on NC State.
This year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because there's no expectations of them.
Right.
Well, that's a good point. But who was it earlier that said, was it Sea-Dog? Or no, it was you, Slam. You said South Carolina just because they're South Carolina, they're going to disappoint. Right? That's the way I feel about NC State.
Well, and I get it, but it's always when there's no expectations. And you've said this yourself. Every 3 to 4 years, Dave Dorn pulls out a 8 or 9 win season.
That's right.
I mean, I'm just saying, going by the cycle, he's due if the cycle continues.
So you're picking NC State?
No.
All right.
I said if it continues. I don't know if it's going to or not.
I'll pick NC State.
Well, it doesn't matter. 4-1 for the Hokies. This is already amazing season starting out here. 4-1.
Well, it's all about to come to a crashing halt.
All about to come to a crashing halt against Wake Forest.
No, I don't think it's going to come to a crashing halt.
Oh, I thought Georgia Tech was next.
No. So after NC State, they go back home again for Wake Forest.
Yeah, I think they'll win against Wake Forest.
Poor Dave Clawson missed out on his opportunity, I think,
he did.
to land a big-time
Why
job.
would he not, post by a better school? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think he's in sort of a no man's land in the coaching world right now. I think he's stuck there.
Yeah.
He's going to be like Gundy at Oklahoma State. He's going to be there for like 50 years.
I think he's underrated, honestly.
But you know what, though? I'm not sure that Gundy cares.
Well, no, I wouldn't care either. Making, $4 or $5 million a year, and there's no expectation to get fired.
Right. And, people shit on Gundy, but, for his entire tenure at Oklahoma State, he averages, 9 or 10 wins a year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. Oklahoma State's obviously a better football program than Wake Forest is. But, yeah, I mean, Clawson every once in a while might have an 8 or 9 win season, sort of like we were talking about with Dave Dorn, and that's enough to keep him around. Who are you going to get this better? So, anyway, I think we all got them beating Wake Forest, so that's 5-1. Now it comes to a screeching halt, and I actually, you know what? I'll go last. Go ahead, Sea-Dog. At Georgia Tech.
So I'd also like to point out that we have a bye week before this game.
See, that's a crucial piece of information.
Yeah. And we get them at home. A little bit of a revenge factor. It's early in the year. Haynes King will probably be healthy still. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the victory against Virginia Tech.
It's not really early in the year. It's kind of like right in the middle, but it's in the middle of October.
We'll played 4 games, so I guess a quarter of our year, but we'll have only played 4.
We'll have only played 4, but they would have already played 6. Is that because of the bye weeks? The way the bye weeks fall?
Is it 4 or 5?
Well, we got them at 5-1 right now.
You might just be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going with Sea Dogs wrong. That's most likely.
Yeah.
I think I might just be wrong. Oh well.
All right, what do you think, Slims? He's got Georgia Tech, obviously.
Georgia Tech off a bye week, and it's in Atlanta. Yeah. I like Georgia Tech in that one.
Yeah, it's at Bobby Dodd. And so, from what I'm seeing here, that must be okay. So they finally get a bye week after Georgia Tech, but they don't have one up till then. So they play 6 or 7 straight games without a bye week.
I mean, we got to do the same thing, but it's at the I wish we could play 7 straight games and then a bye week. We got so screwed on ours.
Yeah, you got a weird. Don't you have a bye week a game and then another bye week?
Yeah, we got Florida State sandwiched in between 2 bye weeks and Florida State's the 5th game.
Yeah. Yes, Haynes King is still at Georgia Tech. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I'm so high on them. That's one of the reasons they're getting as much love as they're getting in the media.
Maybe cover Phil Steele.
So after Georgia Tech,
but it's all gonna depend on him being able to stay healthy. Though.
That's true, but we do have a very good backup, I will say.
Yeah, he couldn't even pass on Miami's secondary. Stop it.
What?
He didn't.
He playing that game?
Yes, he did.
Pretty sure.
Every pass play, he came in.
That's right.
And I don't think he completed less than 50% of his passes against Miami's atrocious secondary.
Listen, I'm going to actually blame the receivers for that. I don't think they performed.
Oh, God.
I don't think they perform very well at times because, I don't know, he has a very good connection with this other receiver that we have that played with him in high school. They have like this chemistry. And it was
those must have been some real shitty receivers because Miami's pass defense was like 70-something in the nation.
Yeah.
It was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Or he just had a bad day. You never know.
Maybe.
It was one of the first games, I'm sure, he played because he wasn't the backup to begin with.
Who is it? What's his name?
Aaron Philo.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He is a true freshman last year, but he had crazy accolades in high school. He actually broke Trevor Lawrence's passing yard record in high school in the state of Georgia. And he wasn't the backup to begin with. It was Pyron, but Pyron was playing so badly that we eventually had to go to Philo, and Philo played way better than Pyron did. So,
dude, I put it like this because we played towards the end of the year. He was playing so bad that Zach Pyron got into the game.
Listen, man, he was a true freshman, and he trust me, he came in. That was one of the first couple games that he played. He really did well towards the end of the year. He won us the NC State game.
We do have a Virginia Tech fan in the chat here. Tough Guard says Virginia Tech is cooked. I'm a Virginia Tech fan. So he must not be a big fan of Coach Pry. Like I said, going in his 4th year, he's got a losing record. And it's time to start winning some games here. They really need.
But much like Brent Key, I do think he was handed a disaster. Now, to that point, Brent Key's done a better job so far.
Do you guys remember the bowl game that it was a funny clip that was going around? It was Virginia Tech made a bowl that year that they fired Fuentes, but they had already fired him. And then they brought in Brent Pry to comment on the game in the booth or whatever. And he was like praising how good their defense was. And as he's saying that, they give up like a 90-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's the announcer's curse.
So
I don't know why people are so down on Virginia Tech. I don't. They're not that bad. I mean, they're not like amazing, but they're not that bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, we just looked at their schedule from last year, and it's a bunch of 3- and 4-point losses.
Yeah, you have a manageable schedule too. Like Cal at home. Come on.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give that to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, me too.
So that's 6-2. Then things take a turn for the worst here. The last 4 games of the season, I'd probably go about 2-2, but we'll see what we think as a group. Versus Louisville, so at home against Louisville, that's a loss for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Do you disagree, Slim? Doesn't matter, but
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think that game will probably be closer than people think.
Maybe. They do get the benefit of being at home. Let's see. We already did a Florida State preview, and I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't remember who I picked in that game. I'm pretty sure I picked Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it is at Florida State. Well, Florida State have given up by this point.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna give it to Virginia Tech.
Okay. 7-3. Then they go home. So Miami has to travel to Blacksburg at least. Like they're two, or let's see. Yeah, so their Louisville game they get in Blacksburg. Miami they get in Blacksburg. That's two of their toughest games. It might be their two toughest games. Well, in the conference anyway. Yeah. So they get the benefit of playing their two biggest opponents, toughest opponents at home. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Miami wins this.
Well, last week I picked us to lose this game, and I'm going to stick with that.
Wow, so it's up to me, huh? Wow. I actually think Miami wins. So you know that I'm being unbiased here.
Okay, who'd you pick?
Miami.
All right. 7-4. Vandy Dandy is taking offense to something. I don't know. He says this is the worst prediction we've done all year. I don't know. What do you think they're going to be? We've got them at 7-4, and I think I'm going to have them
8-4.
8-4 with a win against Virginia at the end of the year, which I think 7-5, 8-4 is probably about accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
Could be 6-6, 6, 7, 8 wins.
I would like to know from Tough Guard. He says he's got him at 6-6.
Yeah.
I think probably 6-6 is probably the floor. 8-4 is probably the ceiling, if I had to guess. But I would like to know from him, because he's got probably a better beat on the fans, how the fans feel about Pry. Would an 8-4 season save his job? Yeah, I think it probably would.
If you want to come on the show, you can too. We love hearing from
like outside of I'm you know what, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. Outside of like 5 teams in the country, nobody should even be considered for being fired for 8-4. Like, I don't think anybody should be fired for an 8-4 season.
Yeah.
But like, there's only about 5 teams in the country that legitimately could even have that conversation.
Well, not to mention he hasn't had an 8-win season since he's been there, so that would literally be his best season in 4 years. So I'm curious about what that number, like, what's the number? Now, I know this guy, it sounds like he already wants him gone, so in his mind, he probably doesn't care unless they go out there and win 11 games or something. But, like, what's the number, what's the real number where his job's in real jeopardy? Like, he might not be coaching in 2026 there. Is it, 5 wins, 4 wins, 6 wins? I don't know.
Well, and I'll warn this Virginia Tech fan that, you can want him gone. Look what it's done to Miami for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into that cycle. And Miami's not the only one, but being a Miami fan, I'll use them because I've railed against it. But, I mean, Texas too, Tennessee, Florida.
It's a tough situation because, I understand your part of it is like you get rid of a decent coach and then you spend the next 15, 20 years trying to find one better. But also you don't want to just drown in mediocrity for the next 6, 7 years because you're too scared to fire your coach. So it's kind of a catch-22.
It is.
You got to get lucky. You just got to get lucky and hit on a coach. I'd rather go through 3 coaches and hit on the fourth one than stay with 1 or 2 for 20 years and not win anything.
Well, and you should be the perfect example of giving somebody time, because I guarantee it. I don't know this for a fact, but I can guarantee there was a good section of Clemson's fan base hollering to fire Dabo in year 4 and 5, especially because he hadn't beat South Carolina.
That was the only reason. That was the only reason, though, because he had one particularly bad season early on, but every other season, he was still winning. It wasn't like he was, Florida State with 2-10 or 3-9 every year. he didn't have a losing record after 4 years like Brent Pry does. So the South Carolina thing was a real. There was people, there's Clemson fans who just can't stomach losing to South Carolina consecutive years like that. But
they're South Carolina fans. I mean, Clemson fans that are going to watch this and curse your name for picking South Carolina to win a game.
I don't care. I already did see. I'll let the cat out of the bag here. We're saving the Clemson preview for last, but I've already gone on some other channels and done a Clemson schedule preview, and I picked them to lose to South Carolina this year.
Wow. That'd give you 3 out of the last 4 you've lost.
Now, Clemson hasn't lost in Columbia since like 2012 or some shit. 13 maybe? 12 or it was somewhere around there. It's been a long time since Clemson's lost in Columbia. That's where the game is this year. And I also think Clemson's going to be one of the better teams in the country this year. What I saw last year from Sellers, they couldn't stop them. So unless they come up with some sort of game plan to be able to stop Sellers, I'm picking South Carolina to win.
Well, that's because Sellers' strength played right into the weakness of Clemson's defense, which was the rush defense.
Yeah, so maybe Clemson's will get that fixed this year. They got a new defensive coordinator. They got one of the better defensive lines, front sevens in the country. So maybe they can get it fixed. But until I see that, I'm just gonna have to go with what I know.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, people get mad at me. When I do these, I joke around when I pick against NC State every week. But when I do these predictions, I'll tell you what I really think about Clemson. I mean, I'm not just going to pick them to win every game. Plus, I don't ever pick.
You just about got Clemson going undefeated. So that means you think that they're going to have those defensive issues fixed.
Yeah. I think they'll be better. I mean, that's the reason they fired their defensive coordinator.
Okay, well, Miami did the same thing, but you're constantly on, well, how good is Miami's defense going to be? It's not like Clemson is 10 times as talented as us.
I think they're more talented overall.
Sure, but it's not a monumental gap, especially now.
Didn't I pick Miami to go 11-1?
You did, but like I said, you're constantly on. I don't know, Miami's defense, and no, you had us picked to go 10-2.
Oh, okay.
Overall, as a show, we had them picked 11-1.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, moving on to Stanford. This is actually a pretty interesting team. Last year, Stanford was only 3-9.
Yeah.
They fired their coach after spring practice. What was his name? Troy Taylor. Well, first of all, they hired Andrew Luck to come in there and basically fix whatever the fuck is wrong with the football program, which is a lot. One of the first things he does is fires the coach, Troy Taylor. Now, he's under investigation by the NCAA for like 2 different infractions. And that's the reason that Andrew Luck used for firing him. But I think it really has more to do with football, and they just use it as an excuse. Because if Stanford was, the Stanford of when Andrew Luck played there, the coach probably would have got a little bit more leeway. But turns out they were terrible. They fired their coach. They go out and hire Frank Reich, previously of the Colts and the Panthers. He was the Colts quarterback coach whenever Andrew Luck was there, and then he took over the head coaching job. He was terrible. He had a terrible losing record over several seasons in Indianapolis as a head coach. Then Carolina hires him. He gets fired his very first season. Before the season's even over, they were like, whatever it was, 1-11, and they fired him during the season, and now he's supposedly just a fill-in or a stand-in head coach at Stanford until they find their more permanent one. But I don't know how that works. Like, why wouldn't you just go do a coaching search for your permanent one? Why are you having a 1-year stand-in?
Because they probably couldn't get who they wanted or don't know who the hell they want.
Yeah.
So they're just like, well, we have to have. I mean, that's kind of what happens though when you fire your head coach right after spring practice. Like, you just have to basically find somebody to fill in at that point.
Yeah, so he goes out and gets so their answer to that is to go get a guy whose head coaching experience has been like, what is his record? Frank Reich's record in the NFL was 41 and 43 and 1. Below 500. Over almost 100 games. 80 something games. So I don't know whatever. I just, look, they're going to be bad, but they do have a somewhat favorable schedule here. I think they'll be better than they were last year just because of their schedule, not because they're going to be any better. Of course, it's their second year in the ACC along with Cal and SMU. Now, they actually start the season out. They're one of these week 0 games, August the 23rd, at Hawaii at 7:30 on CBS. Anybody want to go? Anyone want to take this?
Loss.
You think they're going to lose? You think they're going to lose to Hawaii?
Yep.
What about?
Like I'm the opposite of you. I think they're going to be worse this year.
Oh yeah,
I think because of the way they did all this and firing your coach after the spring game, and I like the way you put that. They don't have the it's not the Stanford team when Andrew Luck was there. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is not there, and he's still not there. And then you fire your coach in the spring. Yeah, you're going to be worse.
All right, so you got them. You got a Hawaii win. What you got for Stanford?
Gee. Maybe. Oh man. I think I might go with a loss too.
Wow.
Listen, Matt, legitimately the only team I might pick Stanford to beat is UConn.
Hawaii's not that bad.
Damn, son. What about Florida State? We'll get there.
Even Florida State was able to beat Cal last year.
Yeah. What did I say? I said their schedule is more favorable this year. I totally was wrong about that now that I'm looking at it. And I also agree with you guys. I have that as a loss for their trees. So 0-1. Look, if you're going to lose a football game to start the year, at least you're in Hawaii.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of teams that I would pick to go to Hawaii and lose because you're in fucking Hawaii. Like, the game may be an afterthought to a lot of people.
And they got another inexperienced quarterback. Stanford's bringing this guy back, Elijah Brown, redshirt freshman, who only played a couple games last year. Sort of the same situation as the guy from Virginia Tech. So he's not experienced. Now, to be fair, I don't know shit about Hawaii, so it's really just it's not saying Hawaii's great or anything. It's just saying that Stanford's that bad. Yeah. 0-1. Then they, boy, look at that. So you start the season out. You got to fly 3,000 miles to Hawaii or whatever the hell it is. Then you got to travel back and go to BYU. Another loss.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Yep.
God dang. Boy, it's tough being a tree these days, isn't it?
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Every year we do this, I pick somebody to go 0-12. May just be Stanford.
God dang, man.
Yeah, that's rough.
I'm going to have to eat my words. I said better than 3-9. I might not even pick them to win three games. Shit. Then they travel. Their first home game against Boston College. Now, we've already done Boston College preview, and I picked Boston College to win this game.
So did I.
0-3. Then they travel to Virginia. So across the country here. Oh, no, this is a hard one. I actually remember picking this too.
Lost.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the home team here. I'm gonna have to take the Cavaliers. So yeah.
Although Stanford did come across country to the East Coast last year and beat somebody.
Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse. That was it.
And now it was a decent Syracuse team too.
That was.
Yeah. I've still got them losing. So,
yeah.
So 0-4. And then they go back home and play San Jose State. All right, I'm giving one to the trees here.
I don't know. San Jose State's one of the better Group of 5 teams.
Yeah, I just don't see them losing to both Group of 5 teams. I think they'll win one of them.
Okay. I think I could get down with that.
All right. Well, I know who you're picking, Slim. You're picking San Jose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they beat Louisville. They beat 2 decent teams last year. Yeah, yeah, they did.
Damn.
Yeah. That was a bad loss for Louisville, though.
That was.
Bad.
I mean, if they would have played each other 5 times last year, Louisville would have won 4 of them. So they just got caught slipping that day. At SMU, that's going to be a beatdown of epic proportions. Loss.
I agree. It's going to be a loss. I'm just not as high on SMU as you are.
Yeah. SMU just brings back a lot, including the quarterback. So.
Yeah, but what they don't bring back is a lot of Power 4 level talent, which they had last year.
A Baylor man, it's a great question he brings up. He says, is there anyone in the Power 4 more down bad than the tree? Well, I would love to throw Florida State in there, but I just think that was probably an outlying. I don't think Florida State's going to be near as bad as they were last year. We've already done a Florida State preview. We've got them going, 5-7?
Yeah.
I mean, on a regular basis, Vanderbilt may even be down bad worse than Stanford.
Not currently, though.
Well, not for one season. I think Louisville's going to be back. Goddamn Louisville. I think Vanderbilt's going to be back to doing Vanderbilt things this year.
Yeah.
Me too.
Let's see. So we all got them losing to SMU. That's 1-5. This is an interesting game. And now I wish I remembered who I picked in this game. I think I picked Florida State, actually. This is one of the ones I had them winning.
Once again, you would think that we, maybe at some point some of this shit will get written down.
Yeah. Todd Webb says Purdue's. Yeah, Purdue's. They're not down as bad as Stanford.
Yeah, Purdue's down bad, but not Stanford down bad.
No.
I think it's me wins here.
Anyway, I got Florida State winning this one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, this game it's in California. Not that matters.
Yeah, I think Florida.
I mean, unless Castellanos just turns out to be some, like DJ level bust.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't think he's as bad as DJ, but he's not anywhere as near as good as what's his face either before DJ.
Oh yeah, Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
But don't forget that was Castellanos' come out game though, was against that 23 Florida State team with Jordan Travis.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, he's just too inconsistent. I mean, he lost the job at Boston College. He got benched.
He did.
And
then pitched a fit about it. Went full Spencer Rattler on us.
Here's a good point. Do you think that matters? The 10:30 p.m. kickoff. So it's 10:30 East Coast time. Obviously 7:30 local time. But does that I think these teams, and this is also new because with these teams just joining the ACC last year, we haven't seen a whole lot of traveling East Coast to West Coast on a consistent basis. I mean, they go out there a few days ahead of time to get sort of used to the time change, I think, don't they?
Yeah.
You would think they would.
I want to say Miami went out there like 4 days ahead of time or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know that really matters that much. But I'm still picking Florida State.
Yeah, I'll pick Florida State to win that game.
So we got a 1-6. This is not looking good for the tree. Then oh boy. Then they go travel to Miami. I think we're all picking Miami on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, 1-7. I'm starting to feel bad for him. This isn't even real. I'm starting to feel bad for him. This is just a prediction. All right, then versus Pittsburgh. So they get Pitt at home in California. Boy. Anybody want to go first on this one? I just don't know. Pittsburgh is one of the more confusing teams to me to figure out.
Loss.
Yeah, I think loss.
Damn. All right, hey, I found a winner. At North Carolina.
All right.
Well, they go back and forth. They're going to be on every other week. They're coming to the East Coast. It looks like.
Lost.
I got to win.
Nah.
Jeez.
Somebody, the question earlier about is anybody as bad as the tree? I don't know. North Carolina's on their way. With old Billy.
Yeah, but at least they hired somebody with a good record in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they hired the best NFL coach against one of the worst.
Yeah. As funny as a troll it would be to pick North Carolina or pick Stanford, I don't know. I don't think.
And I fucking hate North Carolina. And yeah, give me North Carolina.
People think North Carolina's going to suck because of his annoying girlfriend. No, I think she's just a symptom of a bigger problem.
No, I think North Carolina is going to suck because they don't have any talent, and Bill Belichick has never coached college.
Right.
Before.
Yeah, exactly. And then, the annoying girlfriend are just like a cherry on top.
Yeah.
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 They're going to be bad. I just don't.
But
I'd be
Stanford
shocked if that even came close to working out.
But I still don't think they're going to be Stanford bad.
Okay. Well, I lose that. Y'all override me on that one. So 1-9. Then their last two games are at home against Cal and Notre Dame. Well, we're definitely picking them to lose to Notre Dame. I just have a hard time. They're seeing them go 1-11. So I'm going to say 2-10 for me. So I'm going to give them a win against Cal and a loss at Notre Dame. That's me. So what do you got as far as Cal?
You're gonna have a big Cal, huh?
Yep.
Interesting. I don't know
Cal loses their star quarterback. Yeah. I don't know what the guy behind him is going to look like, but
no, I think they lose to Cal still.
So
Cal's still in a much better spot.
That's up to you then, Slim.
Loss.
Damn. So 1-11. That's brutal.
Yeah.
That is brutal. Stanford is all about Olympic sports. Yeah, but I mean, they had some really good football teams in recent years. I mean, yes, top 10 teams.
But Jim Harbaugh's not there.
I know. But saying they only care about Olympic sports is what I'm saying that's not true. I mean, Harbaugh, Shaw, like they both won a lot of games. Hell, didn't they had a couple Rose Bowl wins under Shaw, didn't they?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they did. 15 years ago. Yeah.
But you know what? Mario won the Rose Bowl too, and all I hear is he's a terrible coach. So,
well, I don't think anybody's saying that he's a terrible coach. I mean, unless it's like a Florida or Florida State fan, maybe. But nobody who watches football thinks Mario Cristobal's a terrible coach. I mean, if they do, they're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, what's Mario's overall record as a head coach?
I mean, his overall record is like 500, but that includes, taking over literally an 0-12 FIU team.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's say what's his overall record at the Power 5 level, Power 4 level, whatever.
Oh, it one losing season.
Okay.
And that was his first year at Miami.
I mean, he was winning, 10 and 11 games at Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he righted the ship. By year 3, got Miami up to 10 wins. We've got them at not 10 or 11 again this year. So
No, I think Mario's probably going to end up being at Miami for a long time. Now,
so.
I mean, long time is relative. Long time to one school is different than another. Like, yeah, for some schools, a long time is if you make like Florida State. Like if you stay 5 years, that's a long time. Obviously, like places like Clemson, where your Dabo's been there. Shit, where's he going? Like year 19 or something. Well, he took over.
Well, even for Florida State, they had
19?
Bobby for what, 40?
Yeah.
Like 5 years is a long time for Miami. Like, I think Howard Schnellenberger was there for 5 years. Jimmy Johnson was there for 5 years. Dennis Erickson was there for 6. Butch Davis was there for 5. Like 5's a long time for Miami.
Okay.
So if we could beat that, I'd be great. And I think that's what Miami needs.
Yeah. Well, he's already winning more games and recruiting better than the previous, 2 or 3 at least.
I think his record is worse than Mark Richt's at the same time. But I mean, Mark Richt was a much more experienced coach than him.
Yeah. Condoleezza Rice takes Stanford football seriously. You can get up from your seat at her house and watch the game is on. You can't get up from your seat at her house when the game. Well, what's she gonna? She's gonna stop me from getting up off the couch. I'm just gonna pee on the floor then. It's a ridiculous thing to say. You can't get up.
You pee on Condoleezza Rice's Persian rug, she'll have you thrown into Guantanamo Bay.
I don't care what she said in an interview. It's bullshit. I just wouldn't go over to her house. How about that?
Hey, can we like put a referendum on her ever being on the playoff committee ever again? That would be great.
Yeah, I doubt that's going to happen.
Like let's her or frankly any politician for that matter. Let's not put politicians on the playoff committee. That would be awesome.
Yeah, she doesn't have a great track record with war either. But we won't even get into that. This is a football show. Yeah. Well, there you have it. Stanford 1-11 and Virginia Tech 8-4. I am actually a little bit surprised that we had Virginia Tech coming out winning 8 games.
Yeah, it seems a little high, but
but we all agreed that we also see 7-5 being very realistic. So, I mean, plus or minus a game on our predictions, I'll take that.
Yeah. And that's why we do these too, because if you would have asked me, like, just without looking at schedule, give me Virginia Tech's record this year, I probably would have said like 5-7. But then when you go through it game by game, it changes your perspective a little bit.
It does.
So there you go. You guys can let us know who you want us to do next. So far we've done Stanford, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Syracuse, Miami and Boston College, and SMU and Florida State. So don't type any of those. I will not be here next week. I'll be out of town. So this is one of the weeks I was talking about where we're not going to have a show. Unless Sea-Dog does it without me.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that.
You're not gonna, you saying that he's not reliable? No. We've got plenty of time between now and the start of the season to get these finished. So we'll just take a week off next week, and we'll get right back at it the following week.
Yeah, we actually started this in time where we're not having to rush, hopefully, and before football starts.
No, we should be okay. We did the math on it. I'm going to be gone next week, and then one more week in the first week of August. But every other week I'll be here. So, Sid Irish wants us to do Louisville. Well, you ask, your wish is my command, sir. Let me write this down so I don't forget. Louisville, we just need one other team.
Let's go with.
We've still got all of the North Carolina teams. Well, except for we did North Carolina. We still got NC State, Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville, obviously.
Well, in the spirit of me picking Stanford to go 0-12, let's go with NC State and Louisville next week.
NC State and Louisville.
Or the week after next, excuse me.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
That's perfect. An hour and a half of me bashing Dave Dorn. I'm sure over the next 2 weeks, while I'm on vacation, I can look up some stories about Dave Dorn to make him look bad.
By the next show, we'll know the gender of our baby too.
Oh, so hold on now. So are we going to do a gender reveal?
Wait a minute. I missed that.
What?
I missed that bit. I missed that tidbit of news.
Yeah, so it was the first ACC show prediction show of this offseason. I guess you were working.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he made.
My wife's pregnant.
Yeah.
No, I'm like I said, I missed that news.
Yeah, C-Dog's gonna be a dad. Can you believe that?
Surprise!
Yeah.
Well,
at least somebody in that family will have pants. Because I know your wife's gonna buy that kid pants.
Yeah.
So when do you find out?
Next Saturday we're doing the gender reveal.
Oh, you would want it to be a surprise?
Well, it's gonna be a surprise when we reveal it next Saturday.
No, just have it be a surprise when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No.
I mean, some people do that.
I know some people do that, but I wanted to know because I was like, we need to figure out like what kind of clothes to get, like what color am I going to paint the nursery, like all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we figured all that out before we knew if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and she just went with neutral stuff anyway.
I was like, how many more guns do I have to buy if it's a girl? You know, those the important things.
A lot.
Yeah. Man, I can't imagine being a girl dad. That's crazy.
Hey.
Might be though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this: earlier in life, girls are easier than boys.
Right. Well, they mature faster. I know that just from all the kids in my family because there's girls.
Yeah. Young girls are better behaved and not as hyper and.
Yeah.
But then it flip flops when they get into high school.
Right.
Well, no, I don't necessarily think it flip flops. I think both of them are equally shitheads. But you just have to worry about one of them being a pregnant shithead.
Yeah, no pregnant shitheads from my house. Thank you.
I hope not. Jeez.
Yeah. Then you become a grandpa C-Dog like real quick.
We took our time. We definitely.
I did the same thing. I think I was 28 when my oldest was born.
I'll be 28 when my oldest will be born. I'll have just turned 28.
Why did I think you were older than that?
I'm 27 now. No.
I thought you were like 30.
No, not quite.
He's pushing it. I mean, I get it because it would have made it look even worse. A 30-year-old that doesn't own pants. But
well, I was 27 when we had our first. So same age as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he's about to graduate high school now. So yeah. It happens quick.
Yeah, I know.
Well, anyway, congratulations again, and I will look forward to hear. Are you gonna like put it out there when you find out, or are you gonna wait to reveal it on the show, or like you gonna make a video about it?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah. All right.
Should I make another video? Like the epic one that I did for the announcement?
Now, hold on. Before we get off here, I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
Because we just kind of glossed over the fact that you're having a gender reveal party. Because I think it's kind of ridiculous. But what are you doing? Like, what are you going to pop a balloon and it's either blue or pink? Like, what are you doing?
Well, it's funny. We were originally planning on doing a like a WWE match, like the boy versus girl, and then whoever won. That was the original plan. For some reason, like the women in my family didn't want to do that.
Oh, for some reason, the women in your family didn't want to have a WWE wrestling match to find out the sex of your baby?
Get it.
Gee, I can't imagine. Why?
Kind of stupid if you ask me, but
What, are they allergic to fun?
I think we're just doing like a cake and then you slice it and whatever.
Oh, okay. So it's either going to be like pink or blue cake.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I can get with that.
Well, at least I made it a little fun. Like my wife put the pink powder inside of like one of those plastic ornament balls that you can take apart. But I spray painted the whole thing black, so you obviously couldn't see inside of it. And then she threw it up in the air, and I shot it with a shotgun.
Oh, that is fun. That is fun. We'll probably do a WWE match, just not for this one.
Boy, Slim knows how to do a gender reveal party there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you get to shoot a gun, the whole thing.
Listen, I had a better idea, but she didn't want to do it. What I wanted to do was basically the same idea, but I wanted to do a bigger container of it, and I was going to blow it up with some tannerite.
Oh yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? But I was overruled.
Dang it. Women always ruin the fun.
Yeah, you could put like tannerite inside of like a giant bag of confetti. And the confetti's either blue or pink, and you just blow up the tannerite, and then all of a sudden the confetti starts raining down on everybody. That'd be good.
Exactly. I thought that would have been an amazing idea, but I think she was still mad because I had somehow, like, I had somehow in the music for our wedding, I slipped a Metallica song in there without her knowing about it, and she got a little mad about that. But I like Metallica. I wanted to play a Metallica song.
Yeah. It wasn't Enter Sandman, was it? That'd be a weird wedding song.
No, it wasn't Enter Sandman. Actually, it was, funnily enough, the name of the song is To Live Is to Die.
Yeah.
But it's basically like a 10-minute instrumental.
Right. I don't know what that song is.
It's a great song.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, we're kind of breezing through these, and we've become efficient with them.
Yeah.
Well, we cut out, having 6 people on at one time. That saves a lot of time.
I don't think we cut it out. I think they just quit showing up.
Yeah, I think.
I wasn't. Well, I'm not. I said at the beginning of the thing, I'm not having 6 people on it at one time anymore. It takes 4 hours to do a preview.
Yeah.
3 or 4, I think is good. So, anyway, all right. Any final words, Slim?
Nah, I think I've said everything that needs to be said.
All right. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. The one and the only Slim Shady Canes coming on and doing a preview with us. How about you, Sea-Dog? Other than your gender reveal thing, what you got going on? That it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so wait to hear that. We'll all be waiting patiently to see if it's going to be a little Sea-Dog or a little Sea-Dog-ette. We'll see.
Either way, I'm gonna refer to them as Sea-Dog 2.
Sea-Dog 2. There you go. Perfect.
That's what I like.
So you already got the.
Have like a funny way of saying your kids or whatever. Like you have Pete Jr. and Repeat.
Yeah.
And then Lou does like Lou Jr. and Lou Ann. I think I'm gonna do Sea-Dog 2 and then Sea-Dog 3, Sea-Dog 4.
Damn. So you gotta have 3 kids.
I think 3 is a good number.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, more power to you. After you have 2 of them, you probably start rethinking that, though.
Yeah. I need somewhere to put them, first of all.
Yeah, you strap them to the roof.
The cells are small.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right, buddy. Well, I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Later.
See ya.
There you have it, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the ACC show. Next week, or not next week, but the week after, we'll be previewing Louisville and NC State. So that ought to be a good one. Yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of your evening.